Genomics provides you with a lot of accurate information, and therefore it enables what we call precision breeding. You can take what you want exactly and so on. But almost all, 99% of the varieties in the field are all what you may call conventional breeding or Mendelian breeding, coming from normal genetics. And even if we have through genomics one particular gene transferred, the other characters, agronomic characters and so on, will be needed. So it will always be an integrated breeding. Occasionally, like a mutation, if you have one particular change, you may have genomics alone. But as I see it, it will be both the Mendelian and molecular breeding go together in an appropriate way. And so it is one more tool. In the evolution of tools for transferring genes, genomics is a very important issue. Well, it is difficult to separate applied and basic. One feeds into the other. It feeds into the other. I therefore say ultimate product has to be an applied product which is acceptable to the farmers and to the consumers. But the pathway of achieving genetic strains which have the required characters, not only culinary characters but agronomic characters, plant resistant characters and so on, that will require a combination of both basic and applied research. We must know which genes to transfer, for example, resistance to pests and diseases. We must identify the genes. Climate change is coming and there are problems of drought resistance, salt, sea level rise and also flood resistance and so on. So I would say that again we can't put in a compartment one against the other. It will always go both together because you take the sum total of knowledge and apply it to the problem you have. I will certainly like to see that more of what we call applied research or translational research, converting scientific discovery into field level application. These have to get high priority because today, according to FAO, over 850 million children, women and men will go to bed hungry tonight. Therefore, there is also an urgency. While we work for the long term, the short term goals of feeding the population should not be overlooked. Well, again, when the funds are scarce, you have a sense of priority. If there is more funds, then you can take the long term and the short term in a balance. But if where there's an urgency like what I had in 1960s when India had to import a lot of wheat and so on, PL 480 wheat, what was called then the ship to mouth existence those days, then we had to apply all the $100 to applied work, take something to the field, whichever is the best at that time, while you continue to work for better and better strains. And that is where if I were now doing it again, at that time I had no choice except to put all the $100 into taking the best available one to the field. Now I'll put 50-50, 50 for the longer term and 50 for the shorter term. It depends on the nature of the change which we have brought about. Supposing it is a quantitative character, like yield and so on, you will have to have a test of 5 to 6 years. It will take about 10 years from the time the cross is made to the time it becomes commercial. But if it is a one single change, for example, there is an excellent variety, let me take rice, IR36, it lacks one gene for brown plant hopper resistance. I put that gene, then all the other characters, if they are the same, I can straight away take in 2 to 3 years of field testing. Will be necessary for the authorities to give clearance because you will have to have some field testing before what we call plant variety approval committee gives you the approval. So the time taken will depend upon the nature of the change which has been brought about. If it is a simple and single change, you can straight away cultivate it. Otherwise, about a 10-year time will be needed from the time of testing, being sure of all the characters and above all the culinary characters as tested by home scientists and so on. You will have a lot of data needed before you can determine whether it will be acceptable to farmers or not. After all, farmers are the ultimate judges of the value of variety. I am a breeder, I can say anything, but unless the farmer says, all right, this is a good variety, I always ask the farmers to whom I give new seeds only one question: will you grow this again next year? If the answer is no, then you have the answer. If he says, yes, I am going to grow it next year, then you have the answer that it's a good variety.